Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I am going to share another page with the August kit from Clique Kits called Malibu. And along with the kit this month there is a cut file called Scallops, or maybe it's just called Scalloped, but I kind of thought it looked like scales, like fish scales or mermaid scales. And this kit has a few other mermaid embellishments in it, so I thought I would go along with the mermaid theme. So it is a square cut file, but when you enlarge it, the scale shapes are rather large. And I wanted to have the scales be a little bit on a smaller scale. You see what I did there? Anyway, so I just shrunk down the file and I'm going to just copy and paste it, and I kind of line up the edges a little bit and merge them. Now I know this isn't going to be perfect when I cut it. There is going to be like a little bit of a line in between it. So that's fine because I can always go back and cut it out with scissors. But the shapes actually did line up pretty closely. So I just am overlapping them and I weld them together. After I did this though, I realized I didn't want the whole page to be like this. I only really needed half of it because I wasn't going to use the whole design on my whole page. So I kind of shrink it down and cut out only half of that. So I do half of a page, but with the scales at that scale. So while that's cutting, because there are a lot of little bits in that cut file, I am applying some gesso to my background piece of cardstock here because I'm going to apply some mixed media on it. And I have no idea why my barcode is at the top. That's just the way I knew it was going to get cut off anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But anyway, the paper I'm using to cut the cut file out is kind of like you'll see in a minute here, is like a bluish purple ombre, and I wanted something that would contrast with that, so I thought I would do some yellow in the background. There actually isn't much yellow. Well, there are yellow pieces of paper in this kit, but I felt like a lot of the embellishments didn't have a lot of yellow, but that's fine. So adding yellow as a nice contrast color to the blue and purple, I just thought would be kind of nice. So I do go back through and add some teal and I think a little bit of seafoam maybe. The first yellow I used there was a gold glimmer mist called Yellow Daisy. It's pretty much one of the only yellows I have. Oh yeah, I do go through with this old shimmers. I don't even know what this color is called. It's kind of like a peach color. I wouldn't really call it a coral. It's definitely on the lighter side, and it's very, very light, but I like how that looks. I actually love this background just like that, even before I put the cut file on top of it. So I splatter some teal mist and I go back through with a purple that I have, a shimmer's purple. I don't know what the name of that color is either. That one I had to soak it up a little bit because the dots looked a little too dark. So I soaked up some of the extra ink on there and it looked more purpley. So I had laid my photo out there to see if I liked it, and I did. And here is the cut file coming off the sheet here on my mat, and I look at what it leaves behind. Oh my gosh, I wish I could just take the negative of that. I know they have some type of transfer paper you could use, but oh my gosh, it looks so cool. But I just ended up taking all those little bits off and throwing them away. Oh well. So you can see here in between some of my cuts that I have the lines where the squares had overlapped, and I'm just going to go through with my scissors and trim those out. And I'm not going to show you this whole thing because it does take me a little bit of time, and I'm not going to keep this as a square either. I want it to look more organic, and right now as a square it kind of looks really structured. So I want it to look more like a tail. So I'm going to cut off some of the other scallop pieces. So again, I'm just going to show you a little bit of this here because it does take me a while to go through, and I'm following the scallop shapes and cutting off all the straight edges for sure, and then some of the actual whole or partial areas of scallops because I just really want to see some full scallops. So a lot of the scallops that were, cut in half, like down the edge there, I'm going to cut off all these little kind of straggly edge pieces there. So that's kind of starting to take shape. And like I said, I'm not going to show you this whole thing, but I like doing this with cut files a lot. You don't have to restrict yourself to the shape that they are. You can go back and cut them up and you can do it in the software first, or you could wait and just grab a pair of scissors and cut them up. But I do get a little nervous sometimes, like, what if I start cutting it up and I don't like it? But oh well, you just got to work with what you get, what you have. Okay, so I'm going to kind of speed this part up here because I know this is kind of boring just watching me cut out all these little bits. So while this part's finishing up, I'll just tell you about this photo really quick. So this is my daughter on a boat ride a couple years ago, and we go on a lot of boat rides in the summer. And she used to be so afraid of going fast in the boats, and like would cry hysterically. I mean, and it wasn't even that fast. Eventually, we had to coax her out of it, and this picture of her actually enjoying a boat ride with her messy windblown hair. You know how it is if you've ever ridden in a boat and you have long hair. Your hair just gets so wind tossed and messy. But she had a purple life jacket on, and it just went with these papers so beautifully. So I just want to document this finally happy moment of her on her boat ride and her mermaid hair. Okay, so you can see I got that cut file all cut out. I really love how that came out. Doesn't it kind of look like a mermaid tail? I was thinking it, like to kind of go along with that look as I was cutting it, but I didn't know if it would actually work. But I really like how the shape came out. There are so many embellishments. So the stickers, or is it the stickers or the chipboard? So I have the sticker sheets and the chipboard as well. One of them is the add-on, and one of them is in the kit. I cannot remember which is which right now. I'd have to go back and look. But the die-cut pack, the ephemera pack, does come in the kit. So I have the die cuts, I have the 6x12 sticker sheets, and I have the 6x12 chipboard. Of course, I had to use the tag that said "Mermaid Hair, Don't Care," and I'm going to use that as the title of my page. And I didn't know if I was going to use the mermaid or not, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to really have many other opportunities to do a page like this where I could actually use the mermaid on it, because I don't really like to use things that don't go along with the page, if that makes like the theme of the page, like I don't know, just for the sake of using it. I try to match my embellishments in some way to the theme of whatever I'm scrapping. But so I thought, okay, this is a chance for me to use this mermaid. I'm going to use it. I love that little wave cutout too. And these iridescent pieces are just so awesome. And a lot of these little icons on these little squares just, to me, screamed that they needed to be fussy cut. So I cut a lot of them out. The only drawback to those iridescent pieces there is that they're so hard to photograph. Like in the finished layout, you really don't get to see the sheen that they have and the shimmer. So the video shows that a lot better. Finally, something that the video shows better than a photograph does. Amazing. Okay, so I play around with the embellishments for a while. There were a lot of cute things I wanted to use. But I didn't want to take away too much from the background, so I'm just going to do a little layering and, you know, a couple little things on each side of the photo. I love that little tag that said "Hey girl, hey," and I liked adding in the kind of darker pink. So I'd cut a little piece of pattern paper there with a little bit of dark pink in it and put that on the left side of the photo because I have the dark pink little phrase sticker on the bottom of the photo, so I needed to bring something dark pink over to the left. So I have the heart that I cut out, and then on the right I have the tag that says "Hey girl, hey." So that's kind of my pink, dark pink trio there. And because the mermaid had a little bit of yellow and orange in her hair, I felt I needed to bring something a little orangey and yellow, which I will do here in a little bit. Okay, what else? We have exclusive flare that comes with the kit. This is one of the pieces. It says "Yay." The colors were perfect again. So you can see I have a tag on each side, and I liked that balance. I didn't want to add, like I mentioned, too much more on the right because I didn't want to take away from the cut file. I was trying to find, there are so many of these stickers that I could have used, like phrases that I really liked to go along with this photo, but I don't like using too many phrase things on a page, because like to me it just like makes my eyes kind of go crazy, like looking and trying to read all the words all over the page and all the little things. So I don't like it when there are too many word things. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I like a lot of the design. I mean, I like a lot of the design to be um, shapes and elements and labels and things like that. So that's why I don't overload my pages with words and such. I'm also trying to balance out the iridescent pieces, so I put a little label at the top and the sunglasses on the right and the little heart on the left, and that kind of creates my visual triangle. So I felt that the the left side of the page was a little empty because I had concentrated all the color over there and the cut file and a lot of the embellishments. And so I wanted something to put something on the left just to kind of pull your eye over there just a little bit. So I took a strip of the polka dotted paper and I kind of just tore it very kind of gently down the edge and added that just so that you could see a little bit of the polka dots. And I kind of went back and forth with it. I put it on, I pulled it off. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to keep it or not, but I do like, I'm glad I added it at the end because it just, the left side was just so white and plain that it definitely needed something over there. So that little strip, I felt, completed that. What else? Oh, I'm trying to add something else a little bit orangey coral color-ish. Because of the kind of yellow and orange in the mermaid's hair. I take this piece of pattern paper that has the stripes on it. I love it. I love the color combination in that. So that kind of satisfies my need for a little bit more coral and actually brings in some of the other colors as well. And I guess I'm going to commit to that strip and put that down. And the tip of that strip, I know you probably can't even see this in the video, but the back side of that strip, it was one of the barcode strips from a piece of pattern paper. I had torn it right where the actual barcode was, so it kind of looked like the edge was black, but it was really just the print from the other side of the strip. It's so weird, but it was driving me crazy, so I tried to erase it, and it didn't erase, so it kind of looks a little bit black there, but I'm sure nobody would notice if I hadn't said anything. I'm sure nobody will ever notice when they actually look at this page either. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing some things down. I glue my photo layers down and distress the edges a little bit, and I tuck my layout or my labels in there. And then I thought, as I usually do, I want to soften up the edge a little bit, and I'll add a mixed media sheet. But before I do that, I realize I have to glue this cut file down, and one of my favorite ways to glue intricate cut files down like this is with a product from ThermoWeb called Sticky Dots sheets. And they come in 8.5 by 11 and also 4 by 6, I think. Basically what it is just a huge sheet of adhesive dots. So very similar to what you would have in a tape runner, except it's on a big sheet. So I use the same sheet over and over again because you're just picking up adhesive off it wherever your design is. So there's a lot of open space in my design here. So I can go back and use that sticky dot sheet over and over again. And it glues very quickly and fast, and just always remember to put the cover back on your sticky sheet, because if you leave it off and then you put something on your sticky sheet, it's stuck to it. Ask me how I know, because I have done that quite a few times. Okay, so I found another little tag that had some coral in it, and that made me happy, and I added some twine to my tags, and I used 3 different colors: a purple, a yellow, and a coral color, because those are a lot of the colors on the page there. And I'm just kind of committing to this stuff, gluing it down. It doesn't end up exactly how I had it originally, but close enough. And then I'm going to go through also and layer some, or fill the page in with some of the sequins and little tiny details as well. And I'm going to just zip through this part really quickly because it's just me gluing stuff down, and I glue my embellishments down with liquid glue. My sequins, by the way, I actually use glue dots because I think when you use a liquid glue and it dries, the sequins tend to kind of flick off easily. on liquid glue, and I think the glue dots help keep them more permanently. So yes, I go through and use a glue dot on every individual sequin. And so I place them all out where I want them first, and then I go back and then I kind of tip my page up gently just to make sure I have them all adhered, and looking for any ones that might be moving or sliding down the page before I pick it up from laying flat. This sequin mix is so gorgeous. The seashells in it are kind of an iridescent, but they're also a little bit purpley. These teeny tiny sequins I couldn't use glue dots with because I just didn't have glue dots small enough, so I did have to use a liquid glue, so hopefully they stay on. They don't have raised edges, they're flat sequins, so hopefully that will work. I did go back and add a little bit of stitching in the form of some scallop shapes. I just used a special stitch on my machine, and I like what that added. And there is the finished page. So this was a super fun page. I love this cut file. I love this kit. I love these colors. I love this photo. So, and I love this page. So please go check out the Clique Kit store and check out the Malibu kit. I'm sure you will love it. And thanks so much for stopping by. But before you leave, I have a little announcement that I'm very excited about. I have been so inspired for scrapping this summer. You may have caught my 14 days of summer scrapping back in June. Well, guess what? I am still summer scrapping. So I am doing 7 more days of videos. I have invited 7 new guest designers to join me, a new person each day for 7 days, and we will be starting this Sunday, August 6th. So yay, lots more summer scrapping. And then I'm moving on to fall because I'm pretty much done with summer. All right, so I will see you then. Actually, I have another project coming up tomorrow with this kit. I forgot, with this Clique Kits kit. You'll love it. I love it. Thanks so much for stopping by. See you soon.